Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I will be showing you how to crochet this easy donut. It can be used for play food, amigurumi. It is great to make a keychain, whatever you would like. You can do it in multiple colors. You can do it with different color sprinkles. So let's go ahead, take a look at the materials, and let's jump into today's tutorial. The materials needed for today's video is in like a taupe color for the bottom of your donut. This one's going to be a chocolate topped donut, so you do want to have two different colors. And then some colors for sprinkles if you would like to add sprinkles to yours, which I am going to, so I do have some additional colors for sprinkles. You will also need some stuffing. I'm going to be working with a D 3.25 millimeter crochet hook. You will also need a stitch marker and a pair of scissors. So let's go ahead and get started. So with the taupe, whatever you're picking for the bottom of your donut, you do want to start with a slip knot, and then we are going to go ahead and make a chain of 14. So go ahead and chain 14, and I will meet you back here. Okay, so when you have your 14 chains, you kind of want to walk your finger back down to where you began, and we're going to make a ring. So we're going to insert our hook into that first stitch, grab our working yarn, and pull through both of those loops and go ahead and make a slip stitch. Chain up one, and the chain of one will not count as a stitch. So now what we want to do is we are going to put 2 single crochets back into that same space, but I do want to put my stitch marker into that first stitch right there. Okay, so 1 and 2. So just 2 single crochets into each of the stitches around. Now something I do want to mention is we are going to be increasing. This is going to be the center hole for our donut, and we are going to work along the stitches and build up. So when we come back with the other color, we're going to work along the opposite side of the stitches, and I will explain that a little bit further in this video. But for now, you simply want to not split your yarn, and just go into each of those stitches and put 2 single crochets. So we're going to be increasing. So we had 14, so at the end of this row we will have 28. So we're increasing 2 stitches in every single stitch around. So go ahead and do that until you come back to your stitch marker, and I will meet you back here. Okay, so this is what it looks like after you have done your first round. So into the first stitch, you simply want to make 1 single crochet and replace your stitch marker. And into the next stitch, you will place 2 single crochets into the same stitch. Into the next stitch, you'll do 1 single crochet, and then into the following you will do 2 single crochets. So we are increasing into the second stitch. So then into the next we'll do 1 into 1 stitch. Into the following we'll do 2 into the same stitch. So go ahead and repeat this around, and I will meet you back here for round 3. Okay, so moving on to round 3, I believe we are on. Into the first stitch, we want to make 1 single crochet, and make sure to replace your stitch marker, just like that. Into the next stitch, we will do 1 single crochet, and into the third stitch, we will do 2 single crochets into the same stitch. And we are going to repeat that around. So 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, and into the third stitch we will do 2 single crochets into the same stitch. So go ahead and continue this around. This will be the last increase row, and I will meet you back at the stitch marker. Okay, so that is all we will do for increase rows. So now what we want to do is go ahead and just do 1 single crochet into each stitch around for 2 to 3 rows. You can do it more or less depending on how big you want your donut, but go ahead and continue on for a couple more rounds, and then I will meet you back here and we will move on to the second part of our donut, which will be the chocolate part with the brown yarn. Okay, so here I went ahead and completed my rows. Now into the first stitch, I just want to go ahead, make a slip stitch, chain up one and leave a little bit of a tail, and go ahead, pull that tight. And now we are going to move on to part 2 of our donut. So go ahead and grab whatever color you're going to do for the top. If you are doing just a matching plain donut, you can go ahead and use the same color. Okay, so moving on to part 2, you see that we have the top piece of our work and the bottom. So this is going to be the inside. So we want to put the inside facing up, and grab your second color and go ahead and make a slip knot. So now we are going to kind of work from the inside out, and we're going to work this way. So just go ahead and pick any stitch from the original chain that we made and put your slip stitch on there. We're going to pull that through just like that, and then we want to chain up one. It's a little tricky when you have all these ends in there. So go ahead and pull through just to secure that. Now what we want to do is we are going to place 2 single crochets into each of these stitches around. So into the spot that you were just at, we're going to go ahead and add 1 and 2. And so again, working kind of from the inside out through these stitches, we are going to add on. So we had 14 original chains, so we're going to work 2 single crochets into every of those stitches, just like we did at the beginning, and then we will have a total of 28. So just make sure that you are going into each of those chains. 1 and 2. So go ahead and do that all the way around, and I will meet you back at the beginning. Okay, so moving on to round 2, we simply want to begin with our increased rows just like we did before. So we just did 2 single crochets in every stitch, so we'll put 1 single crochet into that first stitch, put our marker, and now we are going to work 2 single crochets into the following stitch, 1 single crochet into the next stitch, 2 single crochets into the following stitch. So we're going to go ahead and continue to work this all the way around. Remember, you should be looking at the bottom side of the donut, because now we want to be working out, because we're going to sew these 2 pieces together. So you want to continue with the increased rows just like you did with the other side of the donut. So now we will be doing 1 single crochet into 1 stitch. Into the following we will be doing the increase, and we will continue to do that. So rewind back to that part. I will put a timestamp here. Rewind back to that part, and you will increase and make the same exact side with the same number of stitches as you did for this side with your brown. So do that, meet me back here, and we will move on to the next part of this tutorial. Okay guys, so this is what it looks like when you have both of your sides done. You'll see both of the insides are facing together. All of these ends you could sew in if you want, but I'm just going to go ahead and shove them in when we end up sewing. But what I did is I went ahead and took the different colors, and I'm going to show you how to add the sprinkles, and then I will let you do that on your own. So starting from anywhere, you just stick in through one of your stitches and grab up a loop, and holding one side, you just want to pull that through. and count over a stitch, and from the back side going in, you want to pull that back through like that, and then you want to go ahead and make a knot on the inside. And all this is going to be sewn in, so you will not see these ends. So you simply go ahead and tie a knot a couple times just to make sure that it is secured. And then if you want, you can just snip it so it's not as long, like that. Make sure that it's tight. You see your little sprinkle there, and then go ahead and grab another color. And I'll leave you to do this on your own, but I'll show you. And you can make the sprinkles longer if you want by skipping more stitches. Let's go through that one right there. So go ahead and add all the sprinkles. See, so the more stitches you skip, the bigger your sprinkle will be. So go ahead and just randomly add your sprinkles, and then I will show you how to sew and stuff to finish off this project. Okay guys, so this is what it looks like when I have added all the sprinkles. So what you want to do is I'm going to grab the color that I did for the chocolate, and I'm going to grab a tapestry needle. I think I did forget to mention this in the list of materials, but you do want to have a tapestry needle and quite a bit for sewing. So go ahead and just line up the edges. We are going to sew a little bit, and then we are, actually I'm going to do this from the opposite way. We're going to sew a little bit, and then we're going to stuff it. So go ahead and just get that through. You do want to leave a little bit of a tail to tie off with as we come back around. So just line up the corners. Let's see here. And just go back and forth from the front to the back, and then from the back to the front. Again, making sure that we have a bit of a tail. And as we come to the sprinkle parts, just make sure that you tuck those ends in. And then once you have a little bit of a pocket going, after going back and forth a few times, we are going to stuff. So we are going to use our stuffing and do that as we continue along. If you wait, it does get harder to make sure that you are getting it all the way around. So I'm going to do that. I'll meet you back here. I'm just going to go a few more stitches, maybe 3 or 4 more stitches, and we'll add some stuffing. Okay, so I have a small portion done here, and I'm just going to grab a little bit of the stuffing and go ahead and feed that through. So I'm going to continue to add stuffing as we go along. Just use your finger to push it in there. And then just continue to sew back and forth and making sure those little sprinkle bits are tucked in. Just continue back and forth and adding a little bit of stuffing. Oops, sorry guys. Just adding the stuffing as you go. And I will show you what it looks like when I get to the end and the finished product. And this is what it looks like when you're all done. This is a great play food for your kids. You can go ahead and make it into a keychain. Please make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below. Subscribe to my channel. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's easy tutorial on how to make this donut.